Lucky Lefty podcast for the Culture Friday. It's supposed to be Malik and this dude right here, Cam McDaniel, hosting today. Malik will jump in a moment. And I'm going to get off of here, man, because I know I still sound horrible. We are brought to you by Onora Whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com. That premium American whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com. And if you drink, Irish fans, you got to make sure that you do it responsibly. You have to make sure that you do it responsibly. Pot of Gold Day. That means Notre Dame offers are going out all across the nation. I think we're up to somewhere around 90 as far as offers, about 90. Somewhere upwards of 100 to 115 will probably go out. And, I guess it's a special day to be a kid that's a sophomore getting ready to go into your junior year to receive an official offer from the University of Notre Dame. Cam, what was it like when you got your official offer, man?
Yeah, I'll never forget when I got my offer from Notre Dame. It's just one of those. It is truly one of those nostalgic moments in life that you just know that you got invited into a fraternity of something really special and a legacy that no matter what you end up doing there is always going to transcend you, and I think that's a humbling feeling. Um, I think people that have heard me talk before and have heard my story, a lot of you know that being born and raised down here in Texas, I was an orange blood at the time, and just couldn't have seen myself anywhere else but that in that place. And when Notre Dame came and made that offer, it was something for me that this shift in my heart almost, and I knew I was like, man, that's where I'm supposed to be. Keeping it real with you this morning, Shaun.
You know what? We're going to get to a topic, right? Because we had a listener ask this question yesterday. And I said we have to flip it because I think it's going to be a great conversation, especially for you and Malik to have.
Yeah.
But when you look at Notre Dame at the time that you got your offer and look at Notre Dame today, do you still think or feel that Notre Dame has the same staying power with young athletes across the country?
Yeah, I think in a way even more so, because there's this really beautiful convergence of the old and the new happening at Notre Dame right now. And sometimes that takes that convergence period in time is interesting, especially for football programs that have been dynasties at one point in a period of time, and then they have a downhill slope, or they have a kind of a drought season for whatever the expectation is. And for us, the expectation is national championships every year.
Yeah.
And so to have a drought season of plus 30 years on being able to come home with the hardware is in some ways it kind of gets, I don't know, it can be frustrating for some people, but at the same time, it makes it all the more special when it happens again. And you just know that Notre Dame at any point in time has that ability, I believe, to come on the scene and and really provide something completely unique and different. And so that's the way that I kind of look at it. I know that some people see it as man, we got to get, a franchise QB, and we got to get, a just an elite running back, whatever it is, everybody's always got their thing about, or we got to get a new coach, whatever, those people think that it is. Ultimately, I believe right now we have a unique culture, a really cool, setup with the coaching staff that's coming together in a very profound way. And I'm excited to see, what this Freeman era can still continue to do. And I'm pretty optimistic about it myself.
Lucky Lefty Podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, YouTube, Lucky Lefty Podcast. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you like and share. Let everybody know about the Lucky Lefty Podcast. Available on Spotify, as we said, and Apple Podcasts on CFB Nation in conjunction with Irish Breakdown. All of our great content. Leave 5 stars. We would greatly appreciate it. We respond to all comments. It's the Lucky Lefty Podcast. You already know we are the home. I don't know if you knew this, Cam, but Jack Swarbrick nicknamed our show. So we are the home of the misguided passion. It's the Lucky Lefty Podcast. We spin it different.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we embrace it, Cam. We embrace it. We embrace it. I'm very interested in. So these kids are watching you right now. To hear what Notre Dame can do for you as a high school kid, and then knowing what it did for you as you sit here on Lucky Lefty Podcast today, what would you tell these young men that are receiving these offers today?
Man, I guess the way that I see it now would just be like you're creating your own movie, man. And like you're the producer of your own movie, you're the author of your own like script. So put it together how you want to. And that's completely subjective, but I really think for me, like when I was telling like my story to myself, and I tell my story before like I live it out, and that's part of like living prophecy, I believe. And it doesn't always happen exactly the way that I say it, but usually that's the most exciting part. And for me,
Okay.
Notre Dame was one of those kind of like plot twists, but it was like going back to that moment that I was talking about earlier, that moment of getting that offer, it was just this part in my movie where I was like, yeah, this is where I can see myself. I can see myself as a Notre Dame man.
All right. I hope they listen. Now, it's St. Patty's Day. I'm going to put you in Vegas. Unlimited resources, Cam.
Okay.
You're in Vegas, unlimited resources. Who are you bar hopping with on this March 17th? Give me your 4 teammates. It's going to be 5 of you guys. That's you and 4 of the guys. Give me the 5 teammates. Or you can make up, it could be you and 4 former Notre Dame players that you never got a chance to meet, play with. Heck, it could be Joe Montana. Just go ahead.
Yeah.
Give me your 5 guys you're rolling through Vegas with on this St. Patty's Day.
I'd have to go with Everett Golson first.
Okay.
He'd have to be on that list. Joe Schmidt would be there. Jesse Bon Jovi would be there. Corey Robinson would be there. I'd have to bring Malik in just for that dynamic with Ev. That's gotta that's gotta be happening. And then Kendall Moore would have to be there as well. K Moore.
Nice.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something, man.
If I could get transcendent on it, like if we can get transcendent on it, I would bring in Big Lou.
Big Lou Nix. Rest in peace.
Big Lou Nix, man.
Was he really
the
teddy bear, man? He's the type of dude I think it's hard not to love him.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, how do you have an issue with this dude?
Me and Lewis definitely had an interesting dynamic. He was just one of those guys that like he was just his unique expression all the time, man. And he was unwavering in that. And sometimes I didn't get it, especially back then. Like I was like, what the heck? I mean, I remember, coming in my freshman year and like this dude's walking around with a pacifier in his mouth, like
right.
And I'm like, what is happening here? But like the more you talk to this dude, he's just full of life and expression and God, man. Um, so yeah, that would be my crew.
That's an impressive crew. Now, that's going to be the LL question of the day. You get 5 people in Vegas on St. Patty's Day connected to Notre Dame to roll with. Who's your 5, LL Nason? Who's your 5? Put it in the chat.
There's so many
Here's
combinations that you could put together. So many combinations. So if we started going with the historic crew, like it just gets nuts.
this is who I'm going to roll with. I'm going to have a Chicago feel to mine. I think you know that. I'm going to have a
Yep.
Chicago feel to mine. So I'll probably take Bryant Young,
Okay.
the OG. I have to bring Left. He would talk trash. He would probably bust up in the spot if I didn't bring him number 1. Oh man, you know who's super cool, but I don't know if I can bring him? Max Redfield. Max Redfield is I
He would
kicked it
be
with Max.
amazing.
I
That would
kicked
be
it with
great.
Max. I kicked it with Max one night with Left out in LA. And this dude he's fresh off a plane from Europe.
Oh yeah.
Has the little English ruffle shirt, wide open chest out.
Just looking like Bruno Mars
Yeah,
clone or something.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But I would go Malik, Bryant Young, Ricky Waters, dude. Ricky Waters just looks like a good time. Like when he was playing NFL, college, he just looked like it was a good time. So I'll do
Yeah.
Ricky Waters.
Bennett Jackson would be fun too. He was awesome.
Bennett. Now Bennett was a former wide receiver, if I'm not mistaken.
Wide receiver, turn cornerback.
Cornerback.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then if you really want to just like get the hook up, then you go with Matthias. Matthias is going to figure out how to get
do
you into
everything.
anywhere. Yeah. He'll just
See,
get you
you
in
need
any.
that guy. He's important.
Yeah.
Yeah. Matthias definitely. See, some people are saying Chris Zords from my Chicago area. You know what? Chris might be okay on the party scene. I might be underrating him. Okay, I'm cool with that 5. I'm cool with that 5. Matthias gets me in anywhere. Probably knows everybody. Left is going to promote. I don't know if you heard this story, right? So we go into this spot.
DeVaris would be fun.
It's this beautiful spot in LA, right? And I forget the name right now, but it's right off the it's downtown LA. It's a 360 panoramic view at the top of this hotel. It's beautiful. It's like a restaurant bar, right? So we go there. It's me, Malik, and Max. And Malik has Onora whiskey, right? Because we come straight from an event, right? So he's like, yeah, I'm going to bring this whiskey up in here and I'm trying to sell it to the bar, right? See if they'll have it behind the bar. So I'm like, man, are you sure? He's like, yeah, it's cool. They won't be able to see it. I'm like, all right. So we get to the spot. It's an exclusive spot, man. Shout out to my boy Sid Nolan that got us hooked up while we were there. And he walks right to the bar. So we're standing at the bar. So he's talking to the bartender. Bartender goes against the manager. Like, yo, man, we got this drink. Wonder if you guys can get it behind your bar. And they're talking. And all of a sudden, they get through talking. And Malik's like, man, we might as well drink this. So he asks for glasses. And they're sneaking shots. And we're like, no one can see us. And like 2 minutes later, 4 dudes in black suits with earpieces just swoop down on us. Like it's nothing. And
Uh,
And they're like, "What's in your pot?" They're like, "What's in your jacket?" Malik's like, "What?"
Max was probably like, "What's up, Jack?"
He's like, "What's in your jacket?"
he's like, I've met you before just a few
Yeah,
times.
dude. Opens it up. Like, man, I was just talking to the bar, trying to get this behind the bar. And they're like, we can't allow bottles in here for security reasons. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Like, I don't have a problem with that. And so Malik's like, what do you want me to do? And I'm like, you got to go down to the front desk and check it into the front desk. And so Malik comes back with like a tag from the front desk for this bottle of whiskey. And we're like, did you really just check in the bottle of whiskey at the front desk, man? He's like, they made me. We go back and the bottle's gone, of course. And that's how the night started. That's how it started. So it was a crazy night, man. It was a crazy night. Anthony Solomon says he would have the Rocket, Joe Montana, George, Malik, and Brady Quinn.
Okay, that would be fun. Rocket would be
Brady
fun.
Brady could probably definitely get you into a lot of spots.
Oh yeah, wherever you want. Wherever
And
you want.
Joe has that long money.
Yeah,
So Joe probably knows like the secret spots.
yeah. The
Like
problem with bringing Joe or Brady is you're not going to be able to get very far with them. Most likely, depends on where you're at. I guess depends on where you're at.
Joe has so much money that he probably knows spots in Vegas that no one else, like it's like a basement speakeasy
That's true. That's true.
with a hidden
That's true.
entrance.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, okay. All right. I can rock with Joe.
Yeah.
That's cool. What do you think about, did you ever wear the green jerseys?
I did.
Which game was that, Kent?
I only got to wear the green jerseys one time. It was my freshman year, so it would have been 2011 season in DC when we played Maryland for the Shamrock Series. So we had the Shamrock Series kind of swirly gold helmets as well with the green clovers on there. It was fresh. It was fresh.
Okay.
I wish we would have been able to wear them more. I liked that. I mean, that's just me, I guess. I like the traditional blue and gold, obviously, but the green and gold is just, I mean, it's Irish, man.
Are you going over to Ireland? You saw the guys were over there promoting the game this week. Aldrin
Yeah, man.
Estime, Logan Diggs. I
Yeah,
know you and Malik.
I was gonna talk to Malik about it.
Yeah, you and
So,
Malik are going over there. That's an expensive trip, dude.
I mean, it's an experience,
See, that's
you
what it
know.
is.
Yeah,
That's what
man.
it is. Don't look at it as a trip. It really is an experience. Just it's something about, because I'm working on taking a trip to West Africa
Mhm.
coming up. And I'm actually going over there for business, right? Looking at some real estate and
Sweet.
some other things. And
What part of West Africa?
Ghana,
Okay,
yeah, we're gonna go to Ghana. We might venture to Nigeria,
nice. You go to
uh,
Lagos?
probably.
Yeah.
I really want to, you want to go to the port of no return, just experience things. And so, yeah, I think it'll be a big experience for myself. So, but going to places like that from a culture standpoint, even if it's not your culture, it has a feeling to it when you're
Oh yeah.
there because it's so rich with history. And yeah, I'm still thinking of whether or not I'm going to make it.
Yeah. Yeah. It was one of those when we were there in Ireland, I just remember thinking, I'm coming back here. Uh like because I knew we were there for 5 days or whatever.
Yeah,
But I was like, I'm coming back here. This is awesome. I just love from the energetics of it, just like being, I mean, that's kind of my heritage is Scottish Irish. So I don't know if that played into effect, but it definitely, there's a nostalgia to it. You talk about ancient and legacy and all the things that Notre Dame stands for. Like Ireland kind of embodies that as an island in the country.
I got to go to one of the bars over there too.
Oh yeah, I
Let me
haven't got
tell
to
you
do that
something.
yet.
Let me tell you something about St. Patty's Day. Today in the Chicago area, oh, it's bananas.
Yeah,
It's
St. Patrick's Day in Chicago is the best.
people are
The
like
best.
drunk like right now. Like it's like 9, 10 a.m. People are already lit,
They
basted.
still they still turn the river green and stuff.
They do that the Saturday before the holiday. So that
Ah,
took place last Saturday.
got it.
But today, oh, it's on and popping. Like I will not venture to the downtown area at all today. At all. All public transportation is free today, which is great. But man, this is one of the great man, this is one of the best party holidays, in my opinion. Like this is the best holiday that gives you a reason to go out and have a great time.
Yeah, it's usually in spring break too, or like right at the
You're
end of
right.
spring break.
Yeah.
Like so, it's depending on your schedule, the beginning or end of spring break. Uh, Okay, question: St. Patrick's Day on the beach or in the mountains?
Say it one more time.
St. Patrick's Day on the beach at spring break or in the mountains at spring break?
Am I in the mountains of California?
No, like snowboarding, skiing. I guess it could be Cali, like somewhere in Cali, but I'm
So you're
thinking,
like talking about like Aspen.
yeah, Vail, Tahoe, uh, Sun
You know
Valley,
what?
like any of those places.
I'll see. I feel like I can do a beach anytime.
Yeah,
I'll rock with the Aspen Tahoe joint. That's nice. That's nice. Cause see, I didn't do it when I had enough nerve.
yeah,
I really wanted to get into snowboarding when I was younger.
it's it's fun. You can still do it. You can still do
I don't know if my knees will hold up now, Cam.
it.
You know me, I like, back in the day, I used to have a BMX bike with the pegs and I used to do tricks. And
Yeah,
yeah, I would want to do it. See, this is why my
it
wife won't
depends on.
let me. This is why she
Yeah, it
won't let me
depends.
get a motorcycle because she knows if I get one,
Gotcha.
I'll want to jump and I
It's
really
just how
would.
aggressively you go after the slopes. You can be reckless or you can take it easy. Just flow with it.
What's the reckless thing that's still on your bucket list?
Mm, it wasn't on my bucket list, but I'm starting to think skydiving.
I want to jump out of a plane myself.
Yeah, I'm even
Yeah.
thinking about like if I could before I, in my 30s at some point, if I train hard enough and go get experience, I think it'd be super fun to learn how to do those like squirrel suits.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking? Like jump off like a platform, or even I think some people do it out of like planes and helicopters and stuff. But like that would be pretty epic.
The squirrel suit. Have they devised one that you can do without jumping out first? Because they don't have it where you can jump off a cliff yet, do they?
Yeah, they do.
Oh,
Base
they
jumping.
do.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh wow,
yeah,
that is base jumping. I don't
yeah.
know if I had a nerve to do that, Cam. I don't know, man.
Yeah, it would definitely be a push, that's for sure.
So if you
But
base jump, where are you base jumping at? Because it has to be beautiful. It has to be a beautiful area. Just
exactly, like if I'm gonna die, it's got to be like the most beautiful view I'm ever seeing when I'm going down. I'm like, all right, here we go. Uh, yeah, somewhere like up in the mountains, like that would be like epic. Or even, man, have you seen those guys? Like they'll do it in canyons and stuff, and like go between
go,
places.
yeah,
I mean, just
yeah.
flying by stuff, and you're like, wow, like just one wrong move, and it's just over. I don't think I don't want to go through that type of stuff. I want to be
Yeah,
in a more open terrain,
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
so probably somewhere where I'm jumping off a mountain. I've got lots of room for error, and I can just feel it out myself. Uh, and then the parachute kind of thing at the end or whatever, however that works. But here, maybe even better would be you seen those Boba Fett type looking rocket pouches that they got now that they're investing in them for mountain rescue.
yeah,
You, yeah,
yeah.
that would be kind of cool. That's you don't have to be as thrill seeker. It's not. It's like the uh
We lost Cam for a little bit. Lucky Lefty podcast. It's for the Culture Friday right here. Malik Zaire is supposed to be coming in, hopefully, because I wasn't supposed to be on the show today. I was supposed to be going to the doctor and making sure myself we're feeling better. I think I might have some type of infection, so I want to double check that today. Try to muscle through the week. Gave you guys content Monday through Wednesday and yesterday. I just couldn't do it. So we'll get Cam back momentarily. Seems like he lost signal. And we're going to talk about what one of our listeners brought up on yesterday, which is a very viable question, in my opinion, when it comes to Marcus Freeman and Notre Dame. So, everyone, happy St. Patty's Day, happy pot of gold to all the 2025 offers. You can go right now to the IB message board. We have a running list of all the offers. I think we're caught up right now. We fully expect, well, some of the West Coast kids will probably Southern kids like Texas, Arizona, Nevada, California. They'll be posting theirs probably in the next coming hours. Midwest and East Coast have pretty much posted theirs on social media. So the rest will be coming in the next hour or so. We anticipate over 100 offers. 2025 class, 100 offers to go out for Notre Dame to be locked in on these kids. It is a defense heavy class. It is a defense heavy offer list for the 2025 class. So it's going to be very interesting to see. I think myself and Ryan Roberts, we counted out 15, if I'm not mistaken. 15. No. Yeah, 15 offers to linebackers. And then right behind that was defensive linemen. And right behind that was defensive linemen at 11. So that's crazy. 26 of the offers, which is approximately, from what we're expecting, probably 25% of the offers. 25% of the offers are still locked in to those two positions. So that's an acknowledgement, in my opinion, from the coaching staff that the 2025 class, that those two areas are taking precedent. Right behind that, if I'm not mistaken, is the defensive back class. I think Mike Mickens has like 7 or 8 offers out in the 25 class. So defensive back, linebacker, defensive line are the primary offers that went out from a position standpoint in 2025. That just shows you where everything is headed from a recruiting standpoint. Cam, yesterday we had a listener ask this question, so I wanted to pose it to you.
Okay.
The listener said, can Marcus Freeman win a national championship at Notre Dame? And my response to the listener was, I believe he can. I believe he's the man to do it. But I said, let me ask you a question. I said, can Notre Dame win a national championship as it currently stands as a university, regardless of who the coach is? the way college football is moving, NIL, television revenue, super conferences, and the offering, Notre Dame sticking to the independent model, not really getting involved with NIL. You saw what happened with the debacle of Andy Ludwig, regardless of what you believe or what side of the argument you fall on in that particular case. Is Notre Dame as an institution positioned to win a national championship in 2023? See, that's for me, that's the bigger question.
Yeah, that's a really interesting question. Um, I was talking. I've been talking to a couple people about this recently. This topic's been coming up, and I think that one thing, we talked about that transition from the old to the new,
Yeah.
and man, if you want to, you know, if you want to be a part of legacy in a way, like you got to realize like you're creating it, like you're growing with it, like it's growth, and there is definitely like entitled consciousness around the Notre Dame kind of
Mm.
community, I would say, that ultimately like that has to go. That has to be shed off in order for um I think in order for things to really move in the way that like a Marcus Freeman would need it to move in order to kind of be in sync or be in step with what I think he's trying to do as a philosophy there, because it's different. It's unique, it's new, it's a new expression, and sometimes people like we're a very traditional university in so many ways, especially when it comes to football. It's you know, it's greatly esteemed for um what has been done there, and I think we've embraced a lot of new on the external, like we've gave the stadium a makeover, we've
Mm.
create like new facilities, a whole new coaching staff. But I feel like there's something internally, going on there, um, and really like at a deeper level where you talk about the Notre Dame like community as a whole. Um, I feel like if we can shed off, some of that more of that entitlement mentality, kind of like the almost like the arrogance of that, because there's just some straight up arrogant dudes sometimes that like you get from ND. And I'll be the first to say it because, I've been around it. But there's also just some of the most amazing human beings I've ever met that like embody like the true ethos of what I think Notre Dame like really means and like what it is. And I think like the more, we start to embrace that, like that authentic expression and kind of embracing some of uh, this new era, if you will. Um, yeah, man, I think Marcus Freeman could be that guy. Um, but you know, uh, why couldn't he be that guy? I guess is even the better question. Like, what would stop him um, from being that? I don't. I guess
So
yeah.
let's play a game of this or that, then Cam, because you're part of Notre Dame. Let's talk about these traditions. Can you win with athletes living amongst the student population? Or is that a tradition that you will want to keep regardless?
Um, I think that you can. I don't think that I know what you're kind of getting at there, but I think uh, I do think that there's a component of embracing some of the aspects of that tradition that are really unique. And if it's done in a way that's intentional and sacred, then I think it's worth it. Like I think that first summer and like freshman year it really is a great exercise to be linked into the student body. Um, and that again is just more of the ethos of Notre Dame that I would say is like the stuff that like keep that, like keep some of that. Uh, but after, they've done their redshirt freshman year or whatever, like gone through summer and they're linked in with the student body, give them opportunities to be linked in with the student body, but just know that like their life looks different than everybody else. Like it just does. So like because it looks differently than everybody else, you know, you gotta give them the space that they need to rest the way that they need to rest, to be able to uh, they've always done well with, I think Adam Sargent and his team up there does incredible with providing the academic resources for anybody and everybody to succeed. Like he is unbelievable at what he does up there. So it's a world class atmosphere. But like I know what you're talking about, where you get these scenarios where athletes are really like they're living it up. And um, yeah, man, I think that there's room to grow there too, and there could be a creativity around that to where you can preserve some of the elements of that are, sacred and beautiful, and then um, make the transitions necessary and the growth necessary in order to become uh, a high performing, kind of community. Like because
Let me tell you something. I think it's very unique because I think what you said about the freshman year, redshirt freshman year, I love it. Like I would love to be part of that community and to room next door to guys. Like I remember being a freshman at U of I, and I was rooming with these guys that had a triple across from me. And it was this kid named Chinton Amin, who was a Virginia fan. He was from Virginia. Had this man, he called himself a redneck. My guy Greg, he was from Cincinnati. He was like from Kentucky, right outside of Cincinnati. But he was like the coolest dude I ever met from like a farm. It's just the cool. Like you listen to hip hop, like really? And he was an engineer major, and then he had this little short dude named George from the suburbs of Chicago, from Schaumburg, and they were all engineering majors. And every Friday, we would joke with them as they marched out to take that Scantron test for engineering 102 because they would be up to like 3, 4 in the morning on Thursday night studying for this test for this weed out class. So it's moments like that during your freshman year, and I'm still cool with all three of them to
yeah,
this day.
yeah,
We're still locked in and talk to each other. So those are relationships that go beyond just being a football player. It really develops you as a person. So I'm with you on that.
totally.
Definitely keep that intact. What do you think about the athletic facilities as far as nutrition and things of that nature? Do you think a nutritionist, now this is right up your alley, Men- mental health?
You try to get me in trouble, bro.
No, we're having an honest conversation, Cam.
Okay, okay.
Nutrition and mental health.
Yeah.
Does there need to be a separate space, not just for Notre Dame football, but Notre Dame athletes in
Nutrition and
totality?
yeah, nutrition and mental health uh, are distinguishable in an aspect, but nutrition is part of mental health. So,
Right.
you know, I think having providing the education is really like the key. So I'm less about having, just subject matter experts there to tell you what to do, and more about helping educate those guys on. I mean, there's going to be some guys that just want to get told what to do, but there's a lot of guys, especially at Notre Dame, that are, they're curious and they want to know why, they want to know how, they want to know what's best for them. And you got to trust that, man. Like, that's why professionals become professionals. Like, if the guys that are in the league, like they all go to their respective places in the off season, have their own nutrition protocols, have
Right.
their own mental health protocols, have their own trainers that they do their stuff with. And like we're finding out the more specialized sport has got, like people have those guys in high school now. Like professional athletes had those guys, have had those guys for years. Now it's high schoolers that are like they got their guy, and um, they're already playing, like they're agent almost. Like they got their agent. They're like getting ready for NIL. So the landscape has just shifted so much. But um, I haven't been back to the newest facilities yet. Like the like I haven't seen the newest
The new inside facility.
yeah, since like post COVID type facility structures.
Are you coming back now? We're efforting. We're basically finishing up finding the venue, but we're doing a live show the Friday before the Blue and Gold game. Myself and Malik.
Yeah.
So if you're in town, you know you got to come by.
Okay.
You have
Yeah.
to come by. So we'll
I'm
be down
trying.
there for the Blue and Gold game. I'll be down there pretty
Yeah.
much all next week for both practices and the pro day.
Yeah.
Look, I wish I played football the short time that I played. I wish I played on a field like the indoor field. I swear it's like you're running on pillows. It's that soft. It's crazy how soft it is, and I think they've done a good job.
Yeah.
I think they've done a good job. I think they've done a great job. For me, it's really not about the practice facilities, right? You go to other institutions, and I'm not saying, as Jack Swarbrick eloquently said in his email, we're not trying to match expenditures with other top schools. That's fine. But I don't think you have to do that to invest in nutrition and mental health. I just don't for all athletes. So I think it's important, and I think it helps you to get the best out of your student athletes in all areas. And like you said, Cam, even though they're part of the student body, football players know they're football players.
Mhm.
They know they're different. You can't put them in the midst of the student body and trick them into thinking they're just like everybody else. They don't think that way. They know they're different. So maybe the university doesn't want to play into that or that mind state, but it's there. And I figure, man, why not invest? That's just my opinion. Because I'm not
Yeah.
about to allow you to go out there and put yourself in a precarious predicament in any way, shape, or form with the university. But I knew that was something that you're passionate about, and I just wondered where you sat on.
Yeah. I guess I don't know enough about what they're doing from a mental health and nutrition standpoint at this point to really to comment on how what they should be doing. All I can say is that the more that you do invest in mental health, the more that you do invest in nutrition, the more that you do invest in cultural development. I mean, cultural development is the business development of college football. Like it's
Mm,
if you aren't investing into cultural development, then you're not investing in your business development, in my opinion. You're
right.
uh, and that to me, I think is something that uh, mental health plays into that. Mental health is like the governor of it all because I like the way that I would say it like this is sport is broken down in a creative art form and performing art. So
Yeah.
but it's creative before it's performing. Like a kid does not become infatuated with football, basketball, baseball, or whatever for performance. It's because they think that that's fun, man. Like that's why
Mm,
they want to do that. And that's the art of it, the heart of it. And so uh we have to like be grounded in that always. That's why I love Ted Lasso. Like the concept of Ted Lasso is it's making fun of all of this kind of like snobby high society sport, you know,
yeah.
uh scenarios like and just kind of really yeah, it's all this really fun, cultural perspective in my opinion. And we just put my daughter in a school that's like a student guided learning community, and it's taking off right now. They've got their own MBA programs for Texas and Harvard. Acton Academy, and it's this beautiful concept. And I think that for culture, like when you're investing in your culture, your your organization or whatever becomes really player led and player
Yeah.
run. And man, like you get to that level, and like that's where I think it gets scary. That's where I think that, Notre Dame has the capacity to be something, you know, absolutely great.
Yeah.
Beyond like what we even have expectations for, because we see it as like talent and how much money we're pouring into this and how much money we're pouring into that. And uh, like we all love the stories, like the stories of um, like Miracle on Ice and stuff like that, where it's not about talent at the end of the day. It was about the ethos and like uh, the spirit of like what was going on there that made that story so special. And that's what makes Notre Dame a special place. Like they're always going to be, I believe, a place that has a chip on their shoulder, kind of like not underdog swag, but like we know people are out to get us type of thing. And we like that and we embrace that. And that's got to be uh, like something that I believe is just continually embraced, but channeled in a way that um, is really again owned and like taken an extreme ownership way by the players. And you guys have heard me say this on this podcast multiple times. Like
Yeah.
I'm always like, we talk about Marcus Freeman, coaches, stuff like that. Great, man. Like all that's great, but those guys on that squad, and you can ask anybody that's won a championship, like the coach, like they'll give him the credit where the credit's due. But great coaches, look at Bill Belichick right now, man. Look at like he's won those championships, but it's the players that like allowed that man to go get those rings. Like, and every great coach has to admit that
Yeah.
it's the biochemical makeup of that team and the binding and like the unity and the synchronization that makes it all special.
Yeah.
And those are the factors that I think investing in. They're things that we've considered intangibles for a long time, but there's a lot of tangible ways to measure that, in my belief, if you have eyes to see and ears to hear for it.
Yo, you might be editing the championship prayers and wish list of a lot of Notre Dame fans that are listening today with what you just said. Because, no, seriously, because to accept who you are and accepting who you are, some people might feel like I don't need to diminish my expectations.
Mm.
I don't think it's diminishing expectations.
Yeah,
Okay, you might not win six and however many years or whatever Nick Saban did, right?
yeah,
I don't care when the next one is, it's going to be special.
yeah,
It's going to be crazy special, Cam.
yeah,
Like look, let me tell you something. It got to a point as a Bulls fan after the first two,
yeah,
it was kind of like we already know what's coming, dude.
yeah,
When he came back from retirement, it's like, okay, it's about to happen again. Like it really got to that point where you expected it. Like
yeah,
when they got to a game 7 against the Pacers in that last run, it was kind of like, we actually got to go to game 7? Like it was shock that it went the distance. And for the 2005 Chicago White Sox, it was like euphoria like I had never seen before,
yeah,
right? Because it was different,
totally.
right? And you're
It's like
not
the
the big
resurrection. It's like
yes,
a
you're not the big
resurrection of
spending,
something
yes,
great.
you're not the big spending Major League Baseball organization like the Yankees and the Mets that can constantly put themselves in position. No, it's going to take that special squad, that ethos. And they probably weren't the most talented team that year on paper, but it was something about that group.
Yeah,
And they live forever. They can go get free meals in Chicago to this day. Same with the 85 Bears. They can get
yeah,
whatever they want in this city until this day. I mean, 85 Bears probably were the most talented team in the NFL that year. So that's kind of apples to oranges. But maybe Notre Dame and maybe the fan base.
Yeah, and
Maybe you're showing us that like there is
it's both
always going
and.
to be something. Yeah,
It's both and, man.
yeah,
Like there are guys out there that want to be, they want Notre Dame to be what Alabama has been like the last 10 years. Like
yeah,
they want, and like that's cool, man. Like if that's what you want, that's okay. I'm just saying I'd rather not try to force a square peg into a round hole. And
yeah,
like Notre Dame is not Alabama. Like they won't be Alabama. Like that's not like who they're like they're gonna be their own individual expression. And you got to learn to embrace something new with that, in my opinion. And, I guess I'm not here to diminish anybody's expectations either. Maybe I am. I don't know. But like,
no, it's
that's
not
something.
diminished. It's just a slight edit.
Yeah.
Just a
It's just
slight
a, like,
edit.
hey, if you're not willing to enjoy the journey, which the journey is like in a big scale is life, and then
Yeah,
this is, a little subcategory in your life that is really fun and like brings you joy and like should bring you joy. If it's not bringing you joy, then, let's check that for a second and see what's going on there. And just like embracing the fact that, man, like it is going to be special and it is special because like right now is everything leading up to that moment
yeah,
of what it's going to be like, when Notre Dame does win that championship again. And that's the way I think you have to kind of see. You have to surrender to the moment and know that, like, today, like, don't trade today for tomorrow, man. Like,
no,
find the silver lining and stuff. You don't have to be impenetrably optimistic. You can get frustrated sometimes. Like, you can realize that, like, man, things could be better or whatever. That's growth. I got
yeah,
it. But, like, growth is going to happen naturally too.
yeah,
Like, and a lot of times, especially for high achieving athletes, like, uh, they don't usually need to be told or corrected, or if they're like really great, if they're really looking to like be great, they don't need to be told or corrected. Um, they just need to look like become more aware of what it takes to become that champion.
yeah,
And so, yeah, man, I love it. I love, I love the direction that kind of went.
yeah. No, seriously. Like, yo, I'm glad it went that direction. And the more you spoke about it, I just kind of picked up on something and said to myself, like, you know what? There's a beauty in this Notre Dame thing, even with 1988 being the last championship. There's still a beauty in being
That's
a
right.
fan, right? There's still beauty in the uniqueness of it. And there's something that you have as a fan of this program that no one else has. I tell people all the time, like the brotherhood amongst the players is something that I've never seen. And I've been around other teammates from other programs and teammates from the NFL. It's just something different about Notre Dame players when they see each other, how they connect to each other, and how they communicate with each other. So within that, I'll take two championships in 12 years. Like, I'll take it. I don't need 5 and 11. I'll take 2 and 10, 2 and 12. Really special seasons that we could talk about it for the ages. I mean, I would love that. I would love, man. I would absolutely love that. I wouldn't run away from it at all. Now, when you come back to campus, who haven't you seen or who are you looking forward to breaking out in this team? Like who, if you're gonna come watch one of these practices during the spring, give me a couple of players that you're like, I really want to see what he does during this practice.
Oh,
I know you're gonna be watching the running backs. But that's not even fair. Those are your
yeah,
guys.
man. I feel like they've developed so much since this last year. I was really impressed with Logan Diggs' development, man.
Mm,
Um, I just think I was yeah, man. I watched this guy develop so much patience over this last year. Um, he was fun to watch, and that really dynamic between him and Estime. Estime is just like yo, just give that dude the ball. Like that guy needs the ball like minimum 10 times a game, like 15 times a game. Like between Logan and him, they need 20, 25 touches easy. Like they do, man. Uh, so yeah, I'm heavy on the running back this year. I think that we have an incredible backfield. Um, uh, I, I guess uh, I just drifted on a thought because I was thinking of my little brother. My little brother actually might be going up to Northern Illinois to go play.
Up to
Uh,
DeKalb? Nice.
yeah.
I like Coach
Um,
Hammond. I like Coach Ham.
yeah. Yeah. He recruited me a little bit while um, when he was in Minnesota.
Really,
Yeah.
he's a good
Yeah.
dude, man.
Yeah.
He's a good dude.
So, but yeah, other than that, man, um, obviously extremely interested like everybody else in the quarterback position and what's going to transpire there. I think that to me is uh, that's fun, exciting to see what's going to happen. Um, and then I'm looking to see like just overall how our defense is going to kind of respond to some of the losses that it's taking, especially on the defensive line.
Mm.
Who's going to like really emerge? Um, because that's going to be necessary to make, the run that like everybody wants to make. Uh, and somebody always steps up. That defensive line, like every year, there's always some cat that like uh, that really just makes a statement.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, those are kind of the places that I'm looking. I want to see like overall just uh, like just a personality like arise out of the defense, and I think that they've got.
Oh man, we lost Cam. He lost signal again where he was. Hopefully he can jump back on. But he was talking about he wants to see the running backs, his appreciation for Logan Diggs. And then he was talking about that defensive line. He wants to see who steps forward on the defensive line because it seems like every year someone steps forward for Notre Dame on that defensive line. Riley Mills is a veteran. He's always there. You have Isaiah Foskey pretty much nominating Jordan Botello as his successor at the NFL Combine with his comments. So, yeah, Cam, I was just talking about how Isaiah Foskey at the NFL Combine echoed what you said. He pretty much said Jordan Botello was the next one to follow in his footsteps at
Okay.
Notre Dame. So maybe he's one of those guys you're talking about that's going to come out of nowhere and kind of step up. He's had buzz for multiple seasons, couldn't stay healthy, has some off the field issues. If he can keep everything clean, he might be that guy during the spring that takes that step forward.
What also is really exciting to me is, I mean, the season that Morrison had last year as a true freshman. What's
Oh,
like we hadn't had a presence at DB like that. I think Kavari Russell, his freshman year when we went to the national championship, he had a breakout season that um, but what we saw from Morrison last year I think was unique and
yeah,
special.
yeah.
And he's going to add, I think, some tremendous personality to our defense that is unique to like what Notre Dame's had. I mean, think about the last time we had, just a dude out there at corner. Um, uh, I'm talking about like Thorpe Award type. We've had some safeties for sure, and we've had corners. Like apologies to all my like former teammates, but like I'm talking about just that swagger that like changes the atmosphere of the team, and
Yeah.
everybody knows it. You got those internal guys that like the team knows it, but when the team knows it and everybody else knows it, there's something about that is unique, and Morrison carries that kind of swag, I think. So I'm intrigued to see how things develop with him in his sophomore season.
What's the biggest thing for a kid like that mentally? Like to have that type of season as a freshman and to kind of follow that up. Because if you look at the offseason, like every week he's winning workout warrior. Like
Yeah.
he's chiseled. You're like, okay, he's putting in the work physically, but the challenge is I don't think Caleb Williams and USC are going to run from him. I don't think Ohio State with Harrison Jr. and Egbuka are going to run from him. He's going to face some tough wide receivers down the line that are still going to challenge him. So
And he
ultimately,
should
what's the
want
next
that.
step for him? Yeah,
And he should embrace that.
yeah,
If he's going to be the guy that we're talking about right now, and we're we're hyping him up the way that we are, you know, he can use that one of two ways, and he can be content with that, and not content in a bad way, um, but anticipate like the growth of like his career and the growth of his development as a player. And just, I mean, that's the Michael Jordan effect right there, man. That's like, Michael was not, he was not, he was content with where he was at, I would believe, but he was always pushing himself for
yeah,
more.
yeah,
And Kobe was like that. Tiger was like these, the greats have this growth mindset within them that is just, it's a very unique persona. And, uh, and so you got to have that at corner anyway. Like corner's
yeah.
just like that position on the field where your personality's got to be bulletproof. You have to have, you know, uh, you have to have a scenario where somebody burns you or whatever, and you're able to, come back and make that pick six. And just the roller coaster ride of being a corner, I think is one of the most intense. And I got to play some corner. Um, and when you're going against, TJ Jones or Tyler Eifert's out at the like on the edge,
Yeah,
like it's that's a feeling, man. But as a competitor, like you embrace that, man, and you're like, I'm that dude. Like I'm that dude that's gonna make sure that this guy isn't a factor. And uh yeah, man, I don't know what his mental process looks like with that because I haven't spent time with him. I don't know his personality. But my guess would be he knows he's that dude. So
yeah. I would lay money on that if I were a betting man. Now, Malik and I both subscribe to this ain't Wake Forest. Like fans are like, oh man, we're getting this, we're getting that. And Malik and I are both telling fans, relax, because quarterbacking at Wake Forest is a totally different beast than quarterbacking at Notre Dame.
yeah.
The transition for Sam Hartman, what do you think will be the most difficult task? Will he just have to go through that first game and feel it over in Ireland to really get to know? Because it's almost like getting married, right? People can tell you, and then once you finally, go through the ceremony and you come back after the honeymoon and the bills start pouring in, you start to realize, oh, this is real.
Yeah.
Does he have to kind of experience that first game, first two games to kind of really grasp the enormity of being the quarterback at Notre Dame?
Um, I would say for a guy like Sam, just continue to be you. Don't change anything about you. Um, but go in there and integrate with this team. And if you're going to be the guy, then make it known that you're the guy, and
Mm.
do it with like who you are, not like what you're going to say or like whatever. Like if you got to say something, say it, but like be that guy, and people will know it and they'll feel it. And people gravitate to the guy, man. Like they gravitate to the guy that they want to be the captain, like at the helm. And um, that's why I'm like, again, I have that player led kind of philosophy is like you want the guys that are a part of it and are out there behind the
Yeah,
guy that they believe is the guy.
yeah,
And so for me, it's more of an energetics thing. It's not like it's my philosophy is a little bit different as far as like, hey, yeah, it's not Notre Dame, but who cares really? Like at the end of the day, like even Coach Kelly, I remember one of the wisest things Coach Kelly ever told me was, uh,
Something happened to your sound. What happened to your sound? Can you hear me? Your sound went out as soon as you started talking about what Coach Kelly said. You're not on mute. I don't, man, we just can't hear you. There we go.
There we go. Okay. I don't know what that was. I guess my Bluetooth didn't want to cooperate anymore. Lost my train of thought a little bit. What was I talking about?
We were talking about something that Coach Kelly said.
Oh yeah. Coach Kelly had said. He said, "Cam, is the football like? Is it shaped differently, like in Texas?" And I was like, "No, coach." And he goes, "Are we playing the game like any differently? Like, did you have special teams period? Did you have, offense, blah, blah, blah?" And I was like, "Yes, coach, I did." And he was like, "All right." He goes, "Relax. It's just football. Like, you be you. I brought you here because you're you." And that was one of the coolest, realest things that I remember. I like that he said to me, right. And, people don't need to change like the type of player that they are to come play here
Yeah.
necessarily. They just need to be the best expressions of themselves and let the university kind of, morph them into who they become with this new dynamic and this new team and everything like that. Don't resist it. Don't necessarily like force it. Just like that's again flow state, I believe. Like find the flow state, find the way to, navigate this team, this new ecosystem, this new atmosphere.
Yeah.
And so that would be my advice to a guy like Sam right now.
Lucky Lefty podcast. As we get ready to get out of here, we thank our special guest, co-host Cam McDaniel, for joining us today. As always, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, CNB Nation, in conjunction with Irish Breakdown, all of our great content. Leave 5 stars. Leave your messages because we respond to all. Someone had a question for you, Cam. Anthony Solomon said, "How is your business doing?"
It's going well. There's been like my personal business has changed a little bit. There's been changes in like the dynamics of how we're doing things, and just partnerships and stuff like that. But as far as just what we're trying to get accomplished and what we're trying to get done, I feel like there is still some amazing things that are happening, and finding realignment like probably this last year or so was really a realignment, like just time for me as far as team and kind of personnel, like with my work.
Yeah.
But the project itself is going in the direction we want it to go still, which is awesome.
Okay. You know what? Did you by chance see the TV show The Parent Test?
I didn't.
You have to check it out, right?
Okay.
Because it goes along with what you just really, talked about, the school your daughter's in. So they took 10 different parenting styles.
Yeah.
Right. And the child-led parenting was actually very unique and something that I didn't appreciate initially because of the way it sounds.
Yeah.
And what I come from, which is traditional parenting style, with, sort of conservative, based in tradition, based in beliefs, religious beliefs, things of that nature. But after I watched it, I was like, you know what? I could really rock with that, especially from a development standpoint. So it kind of caught my ear when you said that. It was a series on ABC that just finished up. So you probably binge watch it.
That's
probably
awesome.
binge watch. Check it out. Check it out. They didn't win, but they did get to the Final Four. But
There's a time to take up your authority, and then there's a time to yield it. And
absolutely.
it's a dance, man.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just it's a student-led program, but they have guides. Like,
Yeah.
they don't have students, they have learners. They don't have teachers, they have guides. And so that's that's the difference and kind of like that philosophy there. But yeah, man, no, those are fun topics, and
That was cool.
yeah,
That was cool that you brought that up. I was like, I have to make sure I mention that show. It'll be interesting for you and the missus to watch it, just to get your feedback on it to see what you think about it.
yeah.
Uh, Patrick Turner, Shaun, off topic after interview, would like to hear your opinions on the Illinois quick exit from NCAA tournament. Look, man, Patrick, I was having a good day, and look, I've been telling people for 3 years that Brad Underwood is a terrible coach. You know, Cam, I'm not. I don't know if people know this. When you have Chicago in your background for basketball talent,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you're one of the top 10 all-time winningest college basketball programs, top 10, there's no excuse for things to go the way they've been going. None.
Yeah.
And people want to talk about he has the most wins in the Big Ten in the last 3 years. I don't care. He can't get out of the first weekend. Like we don't play basketball to win Big Ten championships. We play basketball to win tournament games. That's what it's about. Can you advance in the tournament? Not the conference tournament, the big dance. That's all that matters. That's all that matters. So I
I got
don't want a coach. I don't want a mid-level coach at a top 10 all-time winning program. I don't. Fans are cool with it because they want to point to the Big Ten record. I'm personally not cool with it. And I think eventually the program is going to take a major dip and he won't be here. That's just my opinion.
well, I haven't been following basketball enough to comment this year, but uh, I know it always gets in. I love the like when I am in it, like I love the intensity of March Madness because you always have those kind of Cinderella type stories and those
Yo,
underdogs coming into the tournament and making those fun runs. So
day one was incredible. Incredible. That Furman, Virginia game was incredible. The Princeton, Arizona game was incredible. Look, do you ever think college football can capture any of that magic with the expansion?
I think it might take a while, but if universities like if you start to see more of the model start to coming to the forefront, I think it'll take a while to really integrate into sports because it's high performance and it's considered high performance
Yeah,
at the forefront. But the emphasis on mental health, I think, is what like balances that out because you can't sacrifice mental health and put it on the altar for performance. Like it just doesn't work, and that's been proven time and time again from great athletes and ultimately who were great people that ended up having to suffer the consequences of a culture that was pushing too hard. And that's what I think would allow for more of a balance in the ecosystem of college football is really this embracing of like player-led type of scenarios, like more player-led type of scenarios, more like professional sports again. You get more of those stories like we had with Jarrett Payton, where you got the dude on your football team, like that's like the Steve Air McNair status, just saying, "Coach, we're going inside today. It's too cold out here," and that type of stuff. That's just, man, it's just fun, and um, you start to create more of that environment again. I think it gives the possibility for um, other universities to kind of come out of the woodwork. I mean, I think we're seeing like it's been cool to see like what Liberty has done.
yeah.
Liberty
Liberty University has put together a squad that, has kind of come onto the scene like really quickly. And so, that's maybe a bad example, but I think it would be fun to have an atmosphere like that. That's why I like Texas high school football. It's kind of like that. It's that, and the NFL, like it's 16. It's in Texas high school football. It's a 10-game, 11-game regular season, and then six games to the championship. So, like when you're playing and going through the gauntlet like that, you can have an undefeated season, kind of like you're talking about with Illinois, where they perform during the regular season, but you got to make it through playoffs, man. It's a different animal.
Yep. Lucky Lefty podcast. We thank everybody for joining us today. We'll see if Left wants to do another show later on tonight. We thank special co-host Cam McDaniel for joining us. And shout out to all of our guys in the USFL this weekend as they play. I actually talked to Big Jerron Jones yesterday. He was driving to Memphis for the game this weekend. So prayers and help to all of those guys, Notre Dame alums that will be taking the field for the USFL this weekend.
Yeah.
Big weekend. We'll talk recruiting news on Monday and have some more film evaluations right here on the Lucky Lefty podcast. For Cam, I'm Shaun Davis. Have a great weekend, but most of all, you have to make sure that you spin it different.